Hello, Dgens. We came back with our podcast like for a couple of months, and today I'm very honored to be joined by Lito as the growth for Socket and the founder of the crypto testers community and the DeFi airdrops Twitter profile. So, Lito, thanks for being here. And so, can you introduce yourself and like tell how did you join the space and what like led you to like be here and stay here
Yeah,
till now?
yeah, sure. So I got into the space in like 2017, mid 2017. So the ICO craze was already like, happening. Uh, and a friend of mine who works in the hotel industry was telling me about this hotel ICO that got him very interested, and then we sort of both dove deeper into everything, and yeah, from there on, like, I don't know, all the ideas resonated with me that I was hearing both in that ICO kind of white paper, but also others that I read afterwards. And ultimately, I fell down this rabbit hole, right? This other friend just looked, just stayed with that one project, but didn't go any deeper and stayed in the hotel industry. But I was the one that like really got sucked into it. And like after that summer, I also happened to start a new my first kind of job after university, which was at PayPal. So that was already kind of in the payment industry, finance, and so on. And there were a lot of people at PayPal that happened to be very interested in crypto as well. So I arrived there and immediately found some people that shared those interests, and together we were just like discussing all the things in crypto and researching and so on. And I became completely obsessed, basically. Like a month after kind of finding out about crypto the first time, I already wrote like articles on my LinkedIn. So I was a complete noob explaining crypto to others, then followed up with that, did like lots of presentations at PayPal around like in front of the whole company to just explain how Bitcoin works and all of these things. Eventually, I left PayPal after like 8 or 9 months because I wanted to work full time in crypto. So I joined this like crypto payment company called Satoshi Pay, which was one of the only companies in Berlin that I found that was doing something more or less substantial. And this was a company that was a bit like BitPay, so just allowing merchants to get paid in crypto, specifically content. So not like e-commerce or something, more like content. So very focused on micropayments, and that resonated with me because when I was at PayPal, I remembered how we often had to like reject publishers because our fee structure didn't make sense for these like small payments, basically. So I was like, hey, this is really interesting. They're solving a problem. And at the same time, as a user, I also knew how much I hated the subscription model in like publishing, and I was really looking forward to such a solution where you could just pay an article in a one-click method without having to enter like a $10 a month subscription or something. So that was my first kind of job in crypto, and it also happened to be the time when I started where like the whole market crashed, and we entered like a very long bear market. But it was actually really fortunate because I was in a position where like I was in a company that had funding. The founder was like a big Bitcoin whale, so even later on while we're running out of like VC funding, like he was kind of just injecting his own cash into the company. So I was very fortunate because I was in this company where I was able to just double down on the space, research even more, network with people and so on. All of this in the bear market, so much less noise, much less kind of distraction, much easier to get through to people and so on. And then that brought us to like 2019, where things started really picking up again, first slowly, but then faster. And it was around that time that the Maker DAO launched, I think. And that was super interesting to me. And, the first time that you could actually use a dApp for something that made sense. and in a UX that was, decent, and really obsessed with that. My company was building on this other blockchain called Stellar, but more and more I was like gravitating towards all the things that are happening in the Ethereum ecosystem, the community, like super welcoming, very like that. It was the only place in all of crypto where like people were building actual products. I felt like all the rest, like EOS, Stellar, and so on, where my company was kind of more focused on, was like it was all just talk, but nothing really happening. And then I knew a few people in the Ethereum ecosystem, and they introduced me to all the founders of interesting projects. So I started writing articles about like how does MakerDAO work, how does Aave work, how does Uniswap work. That I think Uniswap V1 came out at that time. And so that's the story of how Crypto Testers came about. Basically, just me wanting to shine light on these new developments that were happening in the Ethereum ecosystem and make them accessible to others. And then, like 1 year into that, I quit the job at this payment company and went full time into Crypto Testers.
So that's funny that you said that you got interested to a hotel like ICO, and back in 2017 we had like a decentralized hotel, decentralized Uber. Like everybody wanted to bring this stuff on chain. We never got it. I don't know. We will be able to get it in the future, but like it's kind of curious. So did you quit like your PayPal job and at 2017 close to the peak, or like around our summer in South?
I think it was pretty much like around the peak that I quit, or shortly afterwards. Can't remember the exact timeline, but it was. I just remember starting the new job. I think I did a coding bootcamp in between, and somewhere around then, everything crashed. And when I started at the new company, we were already in the bear market. But I didn't care, to be honest. I was young. I that's the time to take risks, basically. So, and it didn't diminish my interest.
When I was too young, like I got like a similar like starting crypto. I started buying like Bitcoin for the first time like October 2018 during the bear. And like you said, like when MakerDAO, you saw MakerDAO the first like useful product that you could do something. Like I had this moment like back in DeFi summer when I started to go deep. And for those like us that when it clicks, like you can't go back from the rabbit hole. It's very interesting. And you said you started Crypto Testers after you started as a blog. I didn't know that. I've been following like the podcast since 2020, I guess. And then after it, you go to the publishing and then podcast, and then you build a community, right?
Correct. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I started writing. The initial idea was actually to just have like a product comparison platform. So we have in Germany, where I'm from, we have this pretty successful company called Check24. It's a bit like what Kayak is for like flight comparison. They do this for like all kinds of products, right? So you're looking for a good new PC, and then they will like show you all the best PCs, and they earn money from like affiliate revenue, right? Or you're looking for like an insurance, like all kinds of products, financial products, but also like hardware and utility contracts and so on. So my idea was to do something similar, but for crypto. So I started comparing like crypto wallets, crypto exchanges, like where do I buy my first Bitcoin, where like saving platforms, because there were platforms like Nexus, Celsius, and so on, where you could put your lend your Bitcoin and earn interest. That was the initial idea. And then when DeFi became a thing again, like I said before, then that's when I started also writing articles as a sort of academy, and then the podcast came after that, shortly after that. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Man, you work for Socket right now, Socket and Bungee, and I know you are very into like the interoperability layer of crypto. And so, can you give a brief overview of what is Socket and Bungee, who don't know, and what you guys building there?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, exactly. So Socket is an interoperability platform, and we're really like full stack, right? We offer a lot of different solutions for projects that build in the multi-chain space. So our first and like most popular product is this liquidity aggregation. So that's us basically offering a product where people can go from chain A to chain B at the cheapest cost. And in order to make that possible, we aggregate all kinds of liquidity bridges like Hop, Connect, Across, Stargate, but also like native bridges, so Optimism native bridge, Arbitrum native bridge, all of these things. Then also even transfer protocols like CCTP for USDC specifically. And so this, all of this bundled together, will ensure that we'll always find the best route for users when they go from, say, Arbitrum to Optimism or something, right? Because we literally scan all these different possibilities and just give users the best option. And we have our own B2C brand, which is Bungee.exchange. Many people know Bungee, but they don't know Socket because Socket is like less kind of user focused. It's more like a B2B brand, right? So most people use and know Bungee, and then Socket is basically our B2B brand where we've packaged all of this functionality that I've just described into an API, and that API can be integrated in all sorts of other front ends. So Coinbase Wallet, MetaMask Portfolio, Zapper, Zerion, Rainbow, Slingshot, like 99% of the places in crypto, if you see a bridge feature, it will use Socket under the hood. So we're doing like well above like $300 million of volume every month. Like this was last month, probably this month will be well above with all the activity. But so like we're a very sizable player in the bridging space. And now when I said we're full stack, like more and more we're going into new domains as well, with like we've developed our own messaging protocol, so that allows developers to build all kinds of multi-chain use cases where a payload needs to be sent from one chain to another to execute a contract on another chain. And we've built like one product in specific that has a lot of traction right now on that uses this messaging layer, and we call it Super Bridge. So you've seen probably the explosion of app chains in crypto, and app chains have this, let's say, this problem where by default they're only connected to Ethereum, right? They have a native bridge to Ethereum, but more and more users are actually on layer 2s. So Optimism, Arbitrum are the popular ones, but Mantle, Base, there's a few other ones, and that's where liquidity is. That's where retail is. And if you're an app chain with a retail-facing product, you want to onboard these people, and you want to make it easy for people to onboard into your app. And so we have a product that allows app chains to do exactly that. We're live with Avo for that. So users on Avo can bridge from any chain into Avo and start using their sorry.
So no, sorry. I didn't know that you guys had integrated with Avo. Sorry for interrupting.
No worries. Exactly. Yeah. So this one is exactly. Not many people know about this because it doesn't say Socket anywhere, right? It's just embedded into the Avo exchange itself, and that's how it should be, right? Like, and people don't even know they're bridging. It just says like it looks a bit like on a centralized exchange where when you want to deposit, say you want to deposit on Binance, it just says how much you want to deposit, and then you copy an address. Here it's a bit different where you just click a button with your wallet, and then there's no fee even because it just uses like a lock and mint model. So there's no LP fee, there's no slippage. You send 1,000 USDC into Avo, you get 1,000 USDC that you can start trading with, and so and we've seen the numbers with Avo. It's actually quite crazy nowadays. Most of their users actually onboard from layer 2s and not from Ethereum. So
I am one of them.
Exactly. I'm one of them as well. Like when you have the choice, why onboard from Ethereum, right?
Yeah, why pay like $50 if you can pay one.
Exactly.
It's too expensive, like for the big public, but it's still better, right?
Exactly.
We're progressing.
Yeah, exactly. And so this same product is coming to a lot of other app chains right now, because it really hits the nail on the head in terms of like what they need. It's custom built for app chains specifically, and I won't leak too much like alpha in terms of like who these projects are. But let me just say that the pipeline is just massive, and I can't wait to unveil them all.
I can't wait either. Like every time I need to bridge, like first time I bridged to Evo, the only chain was like from Ethereum. I was like, damn, and was bear market, so it was cheaper. But I was like, I don't want to pay like 10, 20, $50 to like try to play with options, something that I don't do usually. So I didn't with a lot of money. And all these app chains, I remember GIGX had the same friction. A lot of people used to say, well, I don't want to go to GIGX. A lot of like retail friends, and I was like, I don't want to pay like 10, 20, 30, $50 for bridging there. So I think like this is like a necessary path so we can like get more adoption. So Lito, you said you guys like built your own messaging protocol, and like it works on the back end of a lot of dApps app chains. And do you guys plan to build like a front end for the messaging protocol, or you guys only focus on the B2B side and not going like for like consumer face besides Bungee?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the thing is, like, a front end for a messaging protocol doesn't make a lot of sense, I think, because like the types of messages that people, well, like, first of all, who uses cross-chain messaging, right? It's developers, right? So I don't think that like, and developers will never use or very rarely use a front end to like send a message. If anything, this could be built as like a sort of playground, or just to show some functionality. But most of the use cases will actually be products that are built on top of this messaging protocol, and that can be products built by us. For example, the Super Bridge is one of those products built on top of this messaging layer. But there might very well be others that we build, and there will very certainly be products built by other developers on top of this messaging protocol. So think almost of the messaging protocol as like this, like public infrastructure with like, the roads on the streets and so on, that anyone can like use. And we will build some products using the messaging protocol and others as well.
Oh, nice. That's interesting. And you said, like you just said, this is a public infrastructure, and you said like we don't pay fees or don't have slippage when bridging to Evo, and so you guys like don't charge in the app chain messaging, or you guys like charge to the protocol and like they do the whole process in the back end. So how does it work?
That's a good question. So basically, we don't charge the user or the protocol in that case. We also don't charge the end user in the sense that we don't take any commission or protocol fee. The only fee that the user pays is sort of the gas fee. When they, for example, when they're on Optimism and they want to bridge into Evo, they will pay a gas fee to, execute that bridge deposit. And that gas fee includes also the cost of using the messaging protocol. So to get the message from Optimism to Evo chain, that will use a little bit of gas, but there's no kind of
service fee.
Yeah, there's no service fee. It's really just like to break even.
Got it. Like that. Yeah, that's interesting. And like we were talking before, so I know you are very bullish, and like you're very interested in this interoperability sector. And so why are you so interested in it? I know we have like we need to get better bridging and to better communication between chains. So why are you so interested in that, and like in this whole sector, in sector as a whole?
Yeah, that's a fair question. I asked myself the same thing, why I ended up at another interoperability project after Hop. But I think, I was at Hop for 3 years, And then I think it's two things. One, you sort of become a domain expert, right? When you work for 3 years in one domain, you know, I had the opportunity to talk extensively with the Hop founders, learned a lot from them, and then, you know, researched on my own. All of this makes you become quite knowledgeable on a certain topic and also quite interested. And then so that's one part, kind of just, you know, wanting to continue building on what I've already built as knowledge. And then the other part was like, while I was also at Hop, I was seeing, you know, I was very closely observing other players in the bridge space, and Socket / Bungee was always like on my radar. Like from the day they launched, I loved how you know, they presented themselves. I loved how quickly they shipped, how user focused they were. You know, from day one, they've always thought like, how you know, how can we make people's life easier? Aggregation, obviously, right? But then things like, you know, refuel. How can we help them? Imagine you're sending USDC to another chain that you've never used, but you need gas, right? So we'll just give you a toggle that you can you know, trigger, and then you can include some gas along with your USDC transfer, so that you're not stuck on the destination chain. Or you know, things like bridge and swap, right? So I have token A, but I want token B on the other chain. Like, okay, then we'll just integrate all the DEX aggregators on each chain to combine the bridge transaction with a swap as well, so that we can save you some time. Instead of doing that manually, we can just, you know, combine this in one transaction. And so all, like, I'm probably forgetting like a bunch of other features, but this kind of UX focus was what really got me quite bullish on the project. And then ultimately you know, wanted to be part of that mission and journey. And then also had a few chats with the team, and when they told me, you know, about all the other things that were coming, aka the messaging protocol and use cases that could be built on top of that, and how it differentiates from other messaging protocols, that's where I was like, okay, I need to work there. And it's been like 6 months now, I think, maybe even more.
Ready?
Man, time flies.
Yeah.
But it's been insane. And now I understand, you know, why they ship so fast. Like, it's the speed and energy in that company are like something else. It's quite inspiring, and I'm having lots of fun.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, you said about like the refuel and the swap functions. I used both a lot. The refuel function saved me some time, a few times. So yeah, I really enjoy like these both functions. And so you said like that you were interested in some new features that like they was going new products about the on socket, and you said about the messaging protocol that's already live. So can you leak some alpha on some new stuff that is coming?
Yeah. I didn't sync with the team in terms of like how much, you know, I can say.
That's cool.
But
That's cool.
you know, you were asking like about whether we will build our own front end for the messaging protocol and so on, or whether, you know, that would be integrated into Bungee somehow. So let me just say that some of that, there will be new features integrated into Bungee that will leverage the messaging protocol, and the way that they will leverage the messaging protocol will create an entirely new UX in terms of bridging. It will completely change the bridging game, and will result in, like, you know, much less headaches for users, less waiting, better fees, everything that you want. It's going to be a massive upgrade. That's one of the things. Then you know, if you check the latest tweet of the Bungee account, I think it is, or maybe Socket account, there's some like small alpha in terms of like partnership announcements there. It's just a little hint, but maybe you can deduce something from it.
I have that tweet here like open, and like this one, right? Is it this one? They posted today.
There's that one. Yeah, there's that one. But check on Socket maybe.
I don't think they had anything socket, but let's see.
No?
Yeah, I think it was this one. They said that they're cooking something for winter.
This
Something's
one.
brewing.
This one. Yeah. This one has some alpha, but I can't say more. But I think anyone with a brain will have like some hypothesis, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. So man, before we wrap up in the socket front, and how many chains are you guys on right now?
So in terms of the liquidity aggregation product or the messaging protocol?
The liquidity aggregation.
So I think, I would guess around like 12 from the top of my head. I know that we are adding new chains right now with Mantle and Linnea, and I believe Scroll will come as well. So these are like in the pipeline. You can expect something any day there. So yeah, we're constantly kind of expanding, looking at which chains have demand for bridging. That's the only thing that we care about, right? Like because there's obviously some dev resources that go into adding a new chain, but if we see demand for it, we'll add it for sure.
Are you planning? You guys are full EVM right now, right? Are you planning to go to another ecosystems like Solana is very hot right now, or another that movie languages chains like Aptos and Sui, or any other like non-EVM ecosystem like the Cosmos zones? Are you guys planning to do that in the near term?
Yeah, I mean, we're not opposed to it, but because of the things that we've focused on in the last 12 months or something, where we've invested heavily into this messaging protocol that I've mentioned, and all these products built on top of it, that was our full focus, and we have not prioritized launching on non-EVM chains. We're a company, we prioritize users. So if there will be demand for it, we will support. But also crypto is changing very fast, right? If you always just follow the latest trend, by the time you have kind of invested into it and deployed that feature, maybe the attention has already shifted to something else. So it's also important to kind of not lose track of your vision and avoid jumping back and forth between different kind of priorities. And we think in terms of interoperability, there will be a lot of L2s that are much more strongly anchored into Ethereum, right? And they might even have a Move VM or a Solana VM and so on, and have stronger, because a bridge between a non-EVM chain and an EVM chain, it's quite hard to do this in a secure way. It might be possible in 2 to 3 years with better kind of lifelines and other things, but right now we don't think we could build something that would satisfy our security requirements, and it would change the UX quite a bit, right, in terms of Bungee or other applications, but it could certainly happen.
That's interesting. One thing that you said, you need to keep focus. It's similar to to trades. If you try to catch all the narratives, you go crazy and you don't catch any. So I think for the company it works the same way. There's now the market is getting hot again and too many distractions, right?
Right, totally. And also I think Circle will launch CCTP between Ethereum and Solana, and that probably will cover a lot of the
80 to 90% of the demand, right?
Exactly, because not many people bridge ETH into Solana, right? They just want to bridge funds so that it can ape into some coin on Solana, or let's say another chain like Sui. So, but it's between Ethereum chains where ETH is really the base asset. And so you already see, for example, on Jupiter, right? I think that it's using like CCTP or it will maybe
It's
right now.
Maya, I guess. Maya, I guess.
Right, but I'm
Yeah.
sure as soon as CCTP comes out, they will prefer that because there's less
Makes sense.
risk, there's no smart contract risk, and there's no LP fees that need to be paid. So that's why I think I'm not sure how useful it would be for people to be able to bridge on Bungee, but let's see.
All right. So like on the last question on Socket, and that tweet from Socket said something is brewing, and like everybody keep asking like about token. Is there a token? When token? Can you comment something about like a Bungee or a Socket token? Can you say something about it?
Yeah. So I mean, I think every. So I'm not commenting on like Socket specifically right now, but like I personally think like every project in crypto, like almost, unless you're building like a SaaS product, like I don't know, like Alchemy or whatever, and even for them, eventually it might make sense to have a token if they want to decentralize the whole RPC network and so on, but. Like there's definitely exceptions to where it makes sense to have a token, but I think the vast majority of products or protocols, it makes sense. It's just a superior way of like kind of governing a product, right? Like distributing ownership and having more like global capital formation. Incentivizing people to use your product, like it's the best growth tool that a company can or project can dream of.
That's ever existed, I guess.
Sorry?
Yeah, it's the best like growth like model that like ever existed. It's tokens.
Correct, exactly. And so I personally just think there's a lot of projects. You only have one shot when you launch a token, right? It's not something that you can like undo and then do again or something. You have one shot, and in my opinion, it's something that you should do when you really have product market fit. And there's few projects that have product market fit, right? Like there's definitely some, but like I think many projects launch a token prematurely, almost out of desperation, and that's a very wrong thing. Like when it's like you're running out of like funding, like it's your last shot, you're just like trying to raise some money somehow, but like that will might give you a little bit of relief short term, but long term, unless you're a meme coin, like people want to see progress, want to see metrics, want to see revenue potential, all of these things. If there's no hope of any of that, I don't think your token will do well and won't be very useful. So, I just think it's a matter of right timing. And I can't comment on Socket specifically because I'm not even the one in charge. But so that's kind of my answer.
Yeah, I pretty much like agree with you. Like launching a token is something like very hard to do like the right way. And like we saw it, I saw it like the Gito founder talking in a panel on permissionless about like they just airdrop it, but he said like we don't want to launch a token with like the old broken incentive models, and like I agree with him in the way that we started doing this like in 2020 was like a wrong way, and like a lot of projects like nowadays, like some older projects that are not that big, like a Uniswap or Aave, etc. They like struggle now because like they launched a token in like they didn't know how to do it yet. It was like the beginning of the experimental phase. So like, do you think about it, or what do you think about it?
So for me, the problem is not so much launching a token, but not I don't know, accruing any revenue to token holders. That for me is not. I don't take issue with that. For
Me too. Agree with you.
Okay, yeah. So for me, it's like you can very much launch a token that is quote unquote useless, right? Like when I say useless,
Token, like
right,
people say.
I see so many like people that are, you know, saying, I don't know, use this governance tokens and so on. I'm not in that camp at all. I think as long as you have a product that could, you know, charge a fee and make revenue and so on, then that's totally fine, right? Because, you know, look in stocks, for example, like the most kind of growth stocks don't pay any dividends to people, right? And still everyone knows, and the company doesn't make profit. They reinvest all the money into growth and so on, but everyone knows that growth is good, and that one, you know, that this growth is somehow priced into the value of the share or you know, the token in crypto. So for me, like I much prefer like a project with no fee or no staking or something that but that's growing fast, and another one that has no growth but you know, has some staking module where you earn, I don't know, a few percent, but like, you know,
the ape coins, something like the ape coin staking. That's like staking for sorry. That's you stake just so people don't sell. And yeah, I agree with you. I have like these discussions with a lot of friends like about tokenomics and stuff. I said, dude, like the companies are like 2-3 years old, so why would they distribute like revenue right now? So like Amazon, I think like waited like 20 years to start paying dividends. I think it works the same way, but because of liquidity that tokens like brings us another like novel mechanism, and people like is on a rush to get like to the rev share as soon as they can. And like yeah, I agree. So like this like token talk like brings us like to the next question. So at first you were talking about crypto testers and like how it come to life. So after you started as like this aggregator, publishing aggregator and the podcast, you created a community and like in an NFT gated community. And how did this idea come to mind, like to create like this group? And so why did you move like in this direction back then? Let's go back in time a little bit.
So do you mean crypto testers? Like how?
Testers.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know, man. So like, as I mentioned, you know, I had this crypto comparison platform / education platform, and very naturally a community started to form around this, right? Like at the beginning, you know, it was a super small, like I just set up a Telegram chat. I reached out to, you know, the 20 people that I was talking with on a almost daily basis to just discuss like crypto stuff that was happening in the space, and, you know, people that I had met through like Twitter, and just trying to make sense of this like fast evolving space with these 20 people. And then, you know, as things go, you know, one invites another friend, and, you know, all these like podcast guests that I had on my show, I invited them into the group into the same Telegram group afterwards. So yeah, it very much became like a kind of a nice place to hang out and network and so on. And then I don't know, it grew and grew and grew, and at some point moved us through like Discord. And at some point I also had this idea of like, you know, when NFTs were becoming popular, I was like, man, NFTs are kind of cool. Like they can be anything. They can be, you know, concert tickets. They can be memberships, and memberships that can be like sold, right? Like I love that idea, and had a friend who was an artist, and then one thing led to another. And yeah, also, yeah, it was like I had this idea of like wanting to have a community of like people that want to test products. That was always kind of the ethos around crypto testers. Like we're early adopters of new products. We test them. We give feedback with a crypto comparison platform. But that ethos kind of stayed around. And then the idea with the community was also like that projects could you know, come into this community and get feedback on their product. And so this would be kind of like the sell. for this membership for founders, like, hey, this is a community of like early users that give good feedback. And then for users, it would be, hey, this is a community of like cool people that, you know, spread alpha, and where I can get access to new cool projects that come out before others do. And so that was like my thinking around, let's say utility, for lack of a better word. And so this community has now existed for like 2 or 3 years in total.
Over 2 years. I think I'm over there like for over 2 years right now.
Yeah. You see, for me, timing in crypto is very blurry. Like it's I forget.
Goes fast.
Yeah, exactly. But it's still around, and enjoy it a lot. I know you're in it as well, and I hope you do too.
Yeah, I enjoy a lot. Like it's one of the like the only I'm a member of a few communities, but like the one that I stay my most of my time when I'm in Discord is there. Like I think it's a great community. And I love being there. And so alongside the crypto testers community, you started like the DeFi airdrops Twitter profile. I think like a lot of people here in Brazil don't know, but like you are like the real OG airdrop influencer. I think you were the first one. And so can you talk a little bit like how this come to life, and why did you start posting about like airdrops, and why do you keep doing? How do you enjoy to do it? And
thank you for acknowledging that. I'm an airdrops OG. I think many people don't know who was one of the first, because most of the people came much later. But I'm glad you're there to set the record. So exactly, like this was very, I don't know, like again 2020 or something. I think there were 2 airdrops that happened. One was, I think, this project called, airdrops, actually there were already airdrops like in 2017 and so on. Like
it was like Telegram group airdrops, right?
Right.
And like chain forks and those Telegram group airdrops, right?
Exactly. Chain forks are airdrops in a way, right? Like every Bitcoin holder received like I don't know what that
Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV, Bitcoin Diamond, all these like.
Exactly. So it was not a new thing, but like the way how it was used in DeFi and Ethereum, like in 2020 or something, that was new, right? Because these were like not chain tokens, but like application tokens, and it was like really as a reward for being an early user and so on. And I think the first one I think that I can remember was Meme, and that's not the meme that launched recently. It was this NFT project called.
Meme, like the pineapple one. That one had the pineapple.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think they did an airdrop, and it was like the price went completely to some.
I think it went to $5,000 for like a unit of a token.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think there was like the Uniswap airdrop. Again, I might be messing up timelines, but I remember there were some like small things, right, that put this on my radar as a trend. And at the time I was really like, on Twitter 24/7, looking, testing everything on top of every new project. And I was like, this could become a trend. Like, who else might do that? And with a few friends, we kind of said, hey, it would be nice to make like an account that just like keeps track of these potential airdrops. And like the timing could not have been better, right? Like it's absolutely like ridiculous. Like I think I've never kind of hit the timing so well as with this account, because like we did we as you said, like we were absolutely the first one doing this. Like this was not a thing, and we started calling out airdrops like Ribbon Finance, which was absolutely
huge. I kind of
insane.
faded it. I regret it to today. I
Yeah,
faded
yeah,
hard like ribbon.
yeah. Like, yeah, I had met like Julian Coe, the founder, and I just like knew that he was like a really, really good founder. So was very bullish on this project from early on. But like DYDX, man, what else? Like 1inch, Paraswap. Like I can't even tell you, but probably like 20 airdrops that were just mind blowing from like a dollar
Yeah,
value perspective. And you know, I have like I had people reaching out to me back then, and they were like, "Man, thank you. Like I made like this amount of money completely thanks to you because we, you know, I didn't know where like what to use and so on, and you made it easy. So yeah, and the account grew to like 130, 100, yeah, 30 or 40,000.
yeah. I think it's 100. I checked it earlier. I think it's 130 something.
Yeah, nowadays I use it less because like the airdrop space has just become like really, really messed up. Like when I was tweeting about this, I I never encourage people to Sybil a project, right? Like that never came to mind to people at the beginning. It was really just like, hey, this is a cool way to, you know, yeah, use a
Distribute
project.
tokens and like get governance, like put
Yeah,
like the
exactly.
tokens circulating in the hands of like retail and stuff. Yeah, I sorry. Yeah. Yeah, I remember like I want to thank you because like I got like GYGX because of you. And like I remember I started following the DeFi drops. Like I created a Twitter like just to like follow crypto stuff. And like I lost the Uniswap airdrop like by a couple of days. So I was like, man, I'm not gonna lose this. This is like it's a trend, I think. And like I found like your Twitter page. I think you had like 10,000 followers or less. I was like,
Mm.
yeah, I got a 1 inch and like GYGX because of your page. I was like, yeah, this is a trend. This is gonna continue. And when it came like the L2 started, optimism, things went crazy. And like I think after Arbitrum, like the airdrop space became like a little bit more toxic, like you said. Like are people like incentivizing CBU stuff,
Right.
and yeah, and becomes like a lot of gamified season. And like the
Yeah.
protocols, they farm us too right now. They don't like, it's not like the users that farm protocols
Yeah.
farm users too. And like that's how the game is evolving, I think, like some kind of
Right. Right.
unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me it's also like back then I had the feeling that when I was tweeting about a project, I was actually helping the founder, right? Because you know, just people discovering the product and so on. Nowadays, I'm not so sure anymore because, like, you know, it's also inflicting hell on them in some way, where you just have to deal with really annoying people that are, you know, completely entitled, that insult you, that you know, pressure you, that think you've kind of committed to any timeline. So it's really like behavior that I don't endorse. So that's why I've posted less, but you know, there's still products sometimes that I think are flying under the radar. I'm really avoiding the ones that are like, you know, Sybil to oblivion. That I think it's pretty useless, to be honest. Like, you know, layer zero, zk sync, and so on. Like, there's no originality in that, kind of like, because every airdrop
Yeah,
creator is kind of talking about it, but sometimes there's actually products flying under the radar. Like, for example, Mavericks, right? Mavericks protocol. I was the only one talking about that one.
yeah,
And then, like, you know, people who use it was super easy to get. People got like, you know, 5 to 10K.
yeah,
So I was happy to bring that opportunity to kind of people. But I think long term, I think the rules just need to be clear. I like kind of point systems because it's very clear, you know, what
it's clear
do
cut.
we
You
really
do
want.
you do or you don't. Yeah,
Exactly. And yes, you know, I think there's an issue with kind of, you know, it's not I don't
Wales,
know. Exactly. Whales
not
will
very retail friendly, right?
but there's nothing like you can kind of weight the airdrop in a way that like people with like more points will get a little bit less tokens per point or something. But what you really want to avoid is sibling, in my opinion, because that is really kind of toxic. It puts the hands into the hands of the wrong people, and most importantly, like these people dump and so on. That's a given anyway. But most importantly, it funds in an entire industry to keep on going, right? And they'll do it to the next one as well, and so on. So I think that should be avoided by like at all costs. And so I prefer a system that rewards like whales. In the end, people should be rewarded for conviction.
Yeah, I agree. Like a whale will put more money, will help more the
Right.
product. Yeah, it's like it's. I think it's unfortunately, but it's true because of the farmers. So like the time weighted like model, I think it's gonna be like a trend in the future because like you still have people like do 1 2 transactions and like complaining because they didn't get an airdrop. We saw that with Arbitron. Every big airdrop that it goes out, people is complaining because like I used it. It's like back in like Paraswap days. I used like 2 times and I won tokens. I won like a $10,000. Like come on, man, it doesn't work like that.
Insane.
Yeah, man. So you said like that you didn't want to go that way, but you're liking like this point systems. And so what do you think like of the airdrops like going forward? Because we're seeing like these big projects, everybody's farming and like everybody's writing threads, some decent threads, some peer engagement farmer threads, and like I'm seeing a lot of like crappy influencers in Twitter right now. And so, how do you think like this thing will evolve? Because when we're using Uniswap was in 1 inch, one swap could give you like thousands of dollars. Rebound, I think you deposit $100 to $200, you get like 50K. We're not gonna get that anymore. So how do you think like the industry will evolve? Do you think everything like gonna stay like around our point systems or like farming campaigns where the projects farm the farmers? Or do you think that they will figure out something new to add to this mix?
Yeah, I don't think that like like 50K airdrops are over, right? I just think it's a matter of like finding the right project. It's a bit like VC investing, where like if you identify like a project early on that not many people kind of believed in, but then turns out to be actually something that becomes quite big. Imagine like after they launch a token, the token like they start really growing fast, then you might very well be be rewarded very handsomely for being kind of an early adopter. But I'm just saying, like, if you're one of 1 million airdrop farmers of like layer 0 or ZK Sync, like realistically, unless they're able to really
Figure out like
weed out,
perfectly, that's not gonna happen.
unless they're
Impossible.
able to unless they're able to weed out all the civils, which is very hard to do, then realistically you won't get like an insane amount of money. It's just simple math, right? So that's why I think it's very much like a matter of finding kind of like separating the signal from the noise, and doing your own plays, and not what like 99% of other people are doing. But in terms of like, I think airdrops are here to stay. They will evolve for sure. I think it's a super powerful growth mechanism. We see it with things like Blast, right? Like it's like
Crazy, man.
insane
Almost
how
$1
you
million.
can how you can lock in, how you can attract like $700 million in deposits in like a week, when users are locked for like 3 months. Like that's a hard sell, but they made it like they succeeded with it. So it's definitely powerful, and that's why it will stay. But I think I don't have any crazy hypothesis how they will evolve, but I'm very curious to see, what people come up with and what will stick, what won't.
Yeah, me too. I think like the point systems are here to stay, and they're gonna be more and more frequent. And like some maybe a few projects can like start to like say like yeah, the eligibility criteria like will be that you will need to like reach like levels to get something like that. I think with like some like underneath with some stuff underneath. I don't know. Like I think
Yeah.
this is gonna be like more and more frequent.
Right. And I mean, I think there's been people who are mocking this trend of like point systems and so on, right? I think, points are just loyalty mechanisms, right? Like, and if you see how popular and widespread loyalty systems are in Web 2, like it only makes sense that Web 3 adopts it and extends it, makes it even more attractive with these points converting potentially into tokens at some point down the line. So yeah, I think that it makes total sense. And I think, the best point systems are point systems that like somehow reward people for on-chain actions. Let's say your DEX, like, okay, you get some points for every swap that you make or for how long you've staked your funds in there and so on. But then also if you're able to combine it with some like, let's say, off-chain actions where people, get some extra points for attending a call, for I don't know, doing some cool contribution, things that also open the path for people with like less funds to kind of get points or tokens. So that there's some possibility for people to be successful as well without being a whale.
Yeah, this like off-chain stuff like CowSwap and Libra. I guess they like they airdrop some tokens to people who have like the POAPs from the community calls.
Right.
And I there's a long time that we don't see that. Maybe it becomes something again. And
Maybe.
like one last question on this like airdrop evolving front, and like things like Celestia and Tive, that Starknet like kind of leaked. That like early Ethereum users, like early roll up users, something like Optimism did to like reward all their activities that like it's not related to your chain specific, but like to like in early Ethereum supporter or other ecosystems. So like, do you think this can become like more and more of a thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's not really new, I would say. I can't tell you at the top of my head which project did that, but like it's quite a trend actually, because it's something that is very hard to Sybil, basically, because it's in the past. And back then Sybils were not really common. So if you want to really make sure to, have people that are like unique and most probably also quite, active, then it's a good mechanism. But let's see how much. I think for L2s it makes a lot of sense. It's a way of kind of saying thank you, because, or to acknowledge that they stand on the shoulders of giants, or like the whole Ethereum community. So that's kind of, I think, what they're trying to achieve there, to align with Ethereum.
Yeah, I think like this can like this will go forward like as a CBU filtering criteria, like, but
Mhm.
probably most of them would need to be like pre 2023, because like after Arbitrum like things went like full crazy. Like here in Brazil, for instance, people like they barely knew what was like airdrops. Like even the people that are in crypto, even like some crypto influencers, most of them like had never got an airdrop, like heard of them like that. I was like, I know I not don't want anything with it. And like after Arbitrum, like this stuff like blew up.
Oh,
And I
really?
think
Interesting.
yeah, yeah, I like I started to create content in March this year, like after I left my traditional job, and like I was one of the first here in Brazil to start talking about it, and like people just they got like one, or like ENS airdrop. A lot of people got it,
Mm.
but one, the Uniswap, but Arbitrum, because in Optimism a few people, but like Arbitrum, a lot of people use it. Arbitrum, they like weren't actually like farm the airdrops, and a lot of people got it, and like people went nuts. Like here, one Brazilian real was like it's $5, was 5 reals to $1, so it's a big difference. And like if you got like 1,000, like one minimum wage here is like 1,200, it's like 300, $250,
Mm.
$250. So
Mm.
yeah, it's like $1,000, like for people here is like a lot of money.
Wow. Yeah.
So very different, like from like I don't know like the Australian dollar, what's the conversion, but for like people here, like in third world countries in general, like this like a 10 or 20K drop could be like life changing money for a lot of people.
Sure. Yeah. And so how, like, what has changed exactly? Where are people getting the information? How, like, are those people actually learning how to use crypto, or is it in a very kind of industrialized way where they're just like giving money to
Not
someone that farms for them?
No, it's like people trying to use crypto because they want the airdrops. Like
Mm.
it's kind of it's kind of an onboarding process. So like it's nice, but like I a lot of people like ask me like, how can I get this airdrop? How can I invest in this airdrop thing? I said, dude, that's not how it works. And like
Mhm.
try to go over to explain. But yeah, a lot of people like comes for the greed,
Yeah.
and I hope like they stay for like for the mission
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
money too, but like for the mission too. I think like we need to get both, and
Yeah.
so like our industry can like move forward.
Totally agree.
Yeah, but it's been like a fun journey, like doing like this kind of content, like help like bring like a lot of people, a lot of things that I learned from you, even like we didn't know each other, but like being the community and following the DeFi drops page, and you Olympio, and like Alpha Insider, like Hussein, and like
Mm.
this, and try to bring that to people here.
Man,
And
that
yeah,
I love that. Yeah, yeah, that's how it should be, right? Like everybody learns from someone, and then like knowledge just spreads and scales globally. Because I wouldn't be able to reach the Brazilian community so effectively. So that's really good.
yeah, it's like it's been like a fun, yeah, it's been a fun journey. So man, like we have for over an hour right now, and before we wrap it up, I want to ask you something, because it's a little bit like far off these topics, but right now I'm used to be like an if maxi for the whole last cycle, and I started to look to some things, and start to like find value in the like a monolithic scale, monolithic way of scale, the monolithic design for blockchains. Like since FTX blew up, and after like breakpoint last year, I didn't go, but like hearing from people that went there and hearing about the Solana community, I start to get interested. And like now I'm looking like for like this like Eclipse, so roll up bring with the SVM and some stuff like there is using Move, but with like a modular approach. And I started to become like a little bit divided in that. And so how do you what how do you think like about like this monolithic versus modular thesis? I know you're a big if guy, but like, do you think like we have value in these monolithic chains? What like do you think about like this landscape, like between both?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, for me, I'm someone, I believe a lot in like just markets doing the right thing, right? Markets settling all these questions that we have, right? Like they will show us what is ultimately better, because I think ultimately we will settle for whatever is most rational, makes most sense, creates the best products. I think like, yeah, I'm an Ethereum guy because I've been in the space for a long time, and Ethereum, when I started using it in like 2018 and so on, right? Like it was so cheap to use, and
Yeah.
it was a monolithic chain, right? And then, but a chain is like it's like a road, right? Like if there's more cars coming, then like at some point there'll be traffic, right? And in the case of a blockchain, like transactions then become much more expensive and so on. So for me, like this this thinking that a chain will at some point reach its throughput limit is just very deeply ingrained in me. And then that roll ups as a way to kind of take traffic from that main chain is a very like strong solution. And then with all the building blocks that have been built since then, with data availability layers and strong like bridging tech and so on, I think these rollups can be made like super scalable. And there's a reason why like modularity in software is so popular, right? Isolating kind of state and logic and so on. A monolith, like Solana, for example, I think has made. I'm not saying that like all the throughput improvements that Solana has solely stem from the fact that it's more centralized and that the nodes are just like more
It's more hardware intensive. Exactly. And it's more expensive.
Exactly. I think to a large degree, yes, the hardware is much more expensive, and it is much harder for people to run a node and so on and participate in consensus. But I definitely acknowledge that Solana has optimized for being a monolithic chain, where Ethereum has like taken a very different road and is optimizing for something else. Solana has optimized for it and has things like parallel execution, localized fee markets, and so on. And so there is definitely like some of the
innovation there, right?
Yeah, there's definitely some improvements there, but even that ultimately at some point will also lead to some congestion issues. It can no singleton chain can like handle all the traffic of the world
users that we want to get. Yeah,
you will always have to offload things, and that's why I believe in the modular roadmap. But I don't have any issue with Solana people. I'm a bit tired, to be honest, of like the entire tribalism and infighting.
Yeah.
I might have like played my role in that like a long time ago, but I'm totally over it. I'm just interested in people who build good products. I'm definitely more interested in the Ethereum community because that's where I am, and I like the people, I like everything. But like, yeah, we'll see. The market will settle everything.
Yeah. Like I agree with you in like in most of like what you said right now. Yeah, I'm like tired of the tribalism too. Like didn't have any presence back then, but I used like to play my role between my like small friend community. I was like pretty like solid and centralized in that, and like it was like just lack of knowledge on that chain. But yeah, I think I agree with you. I think the market will tell, and I think like monolith, I the same way like that is like pivoted to a more modular approach. And like you said, like the modularism software is huge. Like the internet stack is modular. So yeah, probably we're gonna get some modularity even in these like monolithic chains. And yeah, I'm like very like looking forward to see like how this progresses.
Same.
But yeah, man, like thanks for coming. And it was like a great conversation. And you were like a guy that like I'm inspired by. So yeah, it was like very good to have you here. And before you say like your final words, like I usually ask for my guests to share an alpha for our listeners.
Okay.
And I wanted to you. Do you have anything in mind?
Well, there's one project that I'm, patient, or two projects that I'm like impatiently waiting for. One is Lyra Finance V2, which is, they're like an options and perps protocol built on their own app chain, but it's like an order book model and has like a lot of strong features like cross margining. Yeah, and the guys are just insane UI UX people. So I'm just very like looking forward to see what that's going to be like. The other product is Isina, so which is like this stablecoin which is backed by a data neutral position. So taking a long Steve position and a short to be data neutral and collect like funding rates and staking yield. So you can, stablecoin holders receive like those two yield sources, and that can be very substantial, like around 10-20% in the current environment. So that will be like, I think that'll be pretty fun when that comes out, and I think it's very close. So those two projects.
That's good. Yeah, you talk a lot about the lira, and like I'm like I think options will be like we'll have like this, not the breakout, but we'll start like shoulder phase and like get some market share from there bit, because basically there's the only option venue we have in crypto.
For sure.
Regards to airdrops, do you have anyone that's flying under the radar that you want to share?
I mean, I can't say it's flying under the radar because it's not, but it's definitely relative to like a layer 0 or something. It's definitely flying or getting less attention, and that's eigenlayer. And I also like it because the rules are pretty clear. Where you just deposit.
You think it's under the radar?
Well, it's relative to some other projects, and so I think. I think you will do much better, basically, kind of playing that one versus like another one. So that's what I mean. It's definitely not flying under the radar, but I'm very bullish on the tech, and that's definitely one of the most interesting ones, I think.
Yeah, I'm like pretty interested in like this risk taking primitive. But yeah, man, that was great. It was great alpha, and yeah, thanks for coming. Thanks for being here. So do you have any final words?
No, that's it. Appreciate it. Thanks.
All right.